This is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Cowboy Batman, or Western World Batman. This is Batman from Batman Superman Archive of Worlds, and I'm a comic collector, and I don't know what that is. I've never heard of Archive of Worlds. If it has Batman in it, I would have bought it. I don't actually know what comic this is from. I am a little bit curious. If anyone can answer that question for me, please drop me in the comments below. In the meantime, let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse, Batman, Western World. Here is the package. We have what looks like a pretty crappy quality jacket, a batarang, collector's card, and display stand. One side of the package, Batman, Western World, Batman, Superman, Archive of Worlds. Other side, Batman, Western World. At the bottom, there's this barcode if it helps. And at the back, there's Cowboy Batman, Cowboy Superman, Western World. I hope they make Cowboy Superman, although my hopes are not too high. We'll see. So with no further ado, let's open him up. Alright, now that I got this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. We have a display stand, a collector's card, a batarang. Now one thing seems to be missing, some guns. Now I know Batman doesn't use guns, but I don't know about this particular version of Batman, but a Western Cowboy Batman, a gun and holster would be nice. So this is Western World or Cowboy Batman. This is Bruce Wayne. He's from a different reality. To thwart the apocalypse cascading across multiple realities, Batman and Superman must join forces with their counterparts. So, this is basically a Western Batman from another multiverse, teaming up with Batman and Superman. So let's take a look. So, starting with his face here, it's pretty good. He has a Batman cowl with sort of a cowboy hat on top. What a weird, interesting concept. The hat itself looks pretty good. Now he has his jacket, it seems freaking paper thin. It doesn't look that good. I mean, it looks okay. It's shiny, which is kind of annoying. I guess it's maybe like a leathery type jacket, but it is just paper thin. Look at that thing. Sort of cloth on the inside, shiny on the outside. It looks like the body uses a lot of Jonah Hex parts, but we will check that out in depth shortly. Bat symbol on the chest. Pants have nice texturing. He does have a thigh cut here, which I do believe is from the Jonah Hex figure to accommodate the horse. I love the Batman belt buckle, pretty cool. I'm sure it's double jointed elbows and knees. Got some boots. And overall, it's a good, cool looking figure, but a Cowboy Batman is definitely something weird for the collection. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Quite a bit on the glossy side of things. I do wish the hat was removable. That would have been a nice touch, or to give him at least an alternate head without the hat on it. And then, here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. Here's his display stand, typical McFarlane display stand we've seen countless times before. And then we have his collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Cowboy Batman and Superman. Batman, Western World. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. Now let's look at his batarang. Another batarang to add to the armory. Pretty good looking bat symbol. Here's a look at Batman holding and getting ready to throw his batarang. Now let's talk about his jacket. Initially, I was very unimpressed with it, as it's just so thin and sort of glossy looking. So, it has this, I don't know, really dark blue or gray color to it. As you can see, it's just super thin, but the inside actually feels pretty nice. That sort of cloth feel to it. And the outside feels and looks kind of crappy. It's like a raincoat. They could have done a little bit better job on this. It has this extra sort of part here. Here's this Batman without the jacket on. And then here, with the jacket attached. Initially, when I opened him up and saw how kind of crappy the jacket was, I thought I would display him without it. But to tell you the truth, he does look better with it on. And I wanted to give Batman some weapons that were appropriate to the Western sort of era. So I took some stuff from Jonah Hex. Jonah Hex actually comes with 2 different sets of holsters and belts, which is perfect. You can give one to Jonah Hex and one to Batman. These revolvers came from Jonah Hex. This rifle came from Jonah Hex. And this musket here came from the McFarlane Weapons Pack number 2, I believe. So let's see if Batman fits these holsters properly. And he should, as he's the same body as Jonah Hex. So here's Batman with that holster on. Now it looks a little bit funky because he has this regular belt and then the holster below it, but that is actually a thing. A lot of cowboys will have a regular belt for their pants and another one holding their guns a little bit lower than the belt. It fits perfect and it looks pretty good. Like I said, I'm not really certain if this Batman does or does not use guns, but I think these look really nice on him. Here's Batman holding these two revolvers, guns blazing, and then here holding that Jonah Hex rifle, and then holding that McFarlane accessory set musket. And then you can't have a cowboy Batman without giving him a horse to ride on. There are a lot of different horses to choose from. McFarlane has made Batman the Dark Knight Rises horse. They made the Jonah Hex horse. They made the Platinum White Jonah Hex horse. They made Roach from The Witcher, which I think is the best horse for Batman. If it's Batman, he needs to have an all-black horse. This one has a saddle, has room to hold a sword or the rifle, and it's a great fit. Now to check out the reuse, differences, and similarities between this cowboy Batman and Jonah Hex. So let's take a look. Obviously, the heads are going to be different. We have the Batman cowl and Jonah Hex's scarred face. As we go further down, exact same torso, stomach, arms, hands, belt, diaper, legs, and boots. It is 100% the same figure, except for the paint job and the head. And I think it works, especially considering the theme of this Batman. And this is now the third McFarlane DC Multiverse figure to utilize the Jonah Hex body. Both the regular and Platinum Jonah Hex, and now Cowboy Batman. And now that we're taking a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 7.2 inches tall, which can translate to around 18 centimeters. And for his articulation. Starting with his head, of course, he can rotate side to side. He can look up about that far, down a pretty good amount as well. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders, a ball joint goes up about 90 degrees, up, down, around. He's got these butterfly rings, increase the range of motion, and cover him the large gap that would be there. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows. His wrist can rotate, and it's hinged as well. Torso has a ball joint, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion. Legs complete as splits, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is pretty much non-existent there. They go forward about that far, back not much. He has got a thigh cut, and that was from the original Jonah Hex to accommodate the horse better. Double jointed knees, and his ankle. Forward and back, not a lot. Rotate, tilt, rock, and to articulation. Here's looking Cowboy Batman riding a horse along the streets of old Gotham. Now let's check him out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Cowboy Batman and the McFarlane figures. Here's this Western World Batman next to the DC Direct Old Western Cowboy Batman. This is from a completely different story where Darkseid had killed Batman, but turned out he didn't kill him, he just sent him back in time, and then we had Batman going through all different eras of the past. And here he is, next to all of my Jonah Hex figures by Mattel and McFarlane. Now let's check him out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the rest of his wave. At least I think. It's kind of hard to tell which figures come in which wave when they're offered in a different way in the McFarlane store, Walmart, etc., etc. This is the Armored Hal Jordan Green Lantern Corps Jade, Western World Batman, Revenge of the Green Lantern Cyborg Superman, and DC Classics Bizarro. Eradicator, I believe, is also part of this wave. Here's Cowboy Batman next to the infamous stolen Killing Joke Joker, and here he is next to the Walmart exclusive Year 1 Jim Gordon, and both the regular and Platinum versions of the Year 1 Batman. I'm still on the hunt for one more Platinum Gordon and one more Platinum Batman. If anyone can help me out, drop me a line in the comments below. It is much appreciated. Then, with McFarlane's Collector's Edition, Wave 10, both the regular and Platinum versions of Deadshot, Year 2 Batman, and Adam Strange. And now, with the 4th digital wave, both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Two-Face and Dr. Fate, as well as the Silver Age Superman. Here's this Batman, next to the Grim Knight vs. Killer Croc 2-pack, and here he is, next to the most recent wave of Page Punchers, we have Supergirl from Woman of Tomorrow, and then Kingdom Come Superman, Starman, and Damage. Then, with some more recent Walmart exclusives, we have the Nightmare, Nightfall, Azrael, the Patina, Dark Knights of Steel Batman, and the Jokerized Death Metal Batman. And now, with the Entertainment Earth exclusive Blacklight, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze, and the GameStop exclusive Frostbite, George Clooney Batman. And finally, with Batman in his armored suit from Justice League the Sixth Dimension, and Batman 1,000,000. Now let's check him out. Next is some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise. In case you want to know which lines you can mix him with, since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my way smaller, and I'm going to include as many Batman figures as I can during these comparisons. Here he is. Next is several different McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman figures. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some Diamond Select toys. Here's Batman, next to a bag of rolled gold garlic parmesan twists. And here he is, with some DC Direct and NECA Batman figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel Batman figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, here he is with some SH Figure Arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a pretty cool Batman figure. But honestly, who asked for a Cowboy Batman? I sure didn't. And tell you the truth, when I saw Cowboy Batman on the Elite and announced figures, I thought it was going to be from when Darkseid killed Batman. But no, it's a different version of Cowboy Batman. And who would have thought there are numerous versions of Cowboy Batman from the comics? It's kind of a cool idea of maybe Batman going back to the old Wild West, interacting with Jonah Hex and old Gotham. But that's not really what happened with this guy. It's a cool looking figure. The jacket is better in hand than it first appeared, but it's definitely too thin. The outside has that glossy, sort of fake leather look to it. The inside feels pretty nice. But like I said, it is actually better in hand than it looks. His accessories, well, they definitely could be better. He pretty much just comes with the Batarang and the jacket. I'm surprised McFarlane didn't make this a deluxe release and release yet another horse and charge us $70 or whatever for it. Sculpt and paint job are excellent. Accessories, kind of on the weak side. Articulation, great. If I had to rate this figure, probably going to give him a 6 out of 10, maybe 6.5. It's a decent looking Batman, but it's not one that I ever asked for, and I imagine most people didn't as well. I didn't even know this guy was a thing. Yes, I knew there was Cowboy Batman, but I didn't know there was this Cowboy Batman in the comics. I'll go ahead and land him at a 6.5. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys real soon.